friends. Today's video is a true and cautionary tale from India about a young woman's life and her journey through unexpected challenges. Before we begin, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Hindi Life Stories, and press the bell icon so you never miss an update. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for more inspiring tales. When my mother expressed her intention, I flared up. "What's wrong with you, Ma? Why do you want to make a spectacle of yourself and me?" She looked at me calmly. "What's so spectacular about it, my daughter? Is it wrong or illegal?" "No, that's not what I'm saying, Ma. But what will people think? What will our neighbors say? What about our relatives?" "Nobody has the right to say anything to us," she said firmly. "We are not dependent on anyone. After your father passed away, did these people care for us? Did they raise us? No, so they have no right to interfere now." My mother had expressed her wish to remarry. It had been 3 years since my father's death. Only we knew how hard those years had been. Our house was small, but it was our own. If not for this, we would have been wandering with no one to ask about our well-being. At that time, I was 17 years old. My mother, married at a very young age, was still beautiful and graceful. When we went out together, people often mistook us for sisters. She was educated and worked in a government office. I, on the other hand, was continuing my education. One day she told me about a man named Arjun from her office who had proposed to her. She was serious about marrying him. Although there was nothing wrong with it, my heart was filled with fear. I tried to explain, "Ma, when you get married, everyone will say a young daughter is sitting at home while the mother is marrying again." She sighed, holding my hand. "My child, I'm not marrying for my own happiness. I'm doing this for you. It is important to have a man in the house. His presence wards off many troubles. People do not look at a house with ill intent when there is a man to protect it. Secondly, how will we manage your wedding expenses in the future? Arjun has said he will take responsibility. He has a good salary, some savings, and together we can send you off with dignity. As for the relatives, their opinions are meaningless." I understood that her decision was firm. My words were useless. She was my mother, educated, wise, and strong. She must have thought this through. But I said, "Okay, Ma, I won't object, but at least do this. Rent out this house and let us move somewhere else." "That's possible," she said, smiling. "Anything else?" "Yes. I want to meet the man who is going to be a part of your life, not just yours, but mine too." She nodded. "You will respect him as you respected your father because he is a good man. He knows you are my young daughter, yet he is ready to marry me and support us." A few days later, Arjun came to our home. My mother served him tea. I was shocked to see him. He was young and handsome, the kind of man any unmarried girl could dream of marrying. Yet he wanted to marry my widowed mother, who had a teenage daughter. In my estimation, he was at least 10 to 12 years younger than my mother. He spoke to me respectfully, asking about my studies, but my mind was filled with doubts. Why was he marrying her? Something felt strange. After he left, my mother asked, "So what do you think of him?" I said firmly, "No, Ma, this marriage shouldn't happen." "And why not, my child?" "Because there will be gossip and rumors. If he were an elderly man, it would be fine. But marrying such a young man will create stories. People will mock you, and the worst thing is, I will be defamed, Ma." "Why would you be defamed?" "You're not so naive. People will say he married you just to get close to me." She fell silent. Perhaps she realized I was right. But after a few days, she brought up the topic again. Her determination was unshaken. When her insistence became stronger, I agreed on the condition that we move houses. So we rented out our home and shifted to Arjun's house. He lived alone. I wasn't happy. 1,000 fears filled my heart. But my mother's happiness forced me to stay quiet. The wedding was simple, just me on our side and some of his friends on his side. Even during the ceremony, I felt something strange, a heaviness in my chest. That night, I cried for hours, remembering my father. Arjun could never replace him. My father had loved me deeply. This man's love, I felt, had some flaw. Why else would a young man marry a woman older than him? The next morning, I refused to leave my room. My mother came to call me for breakfast. No, I don't feel like eating. Don't be silly. You can't stay hungry. Arjun is also calling you. Then bring my breakfast here. That's not good, my child. What will Arjun think? Reluctantly, I went to the breakfast table. Arjun looked at me and asked gently, "Are you all right? Are you angry with me?" I snapped. What kind of question is that? Anger comes from relationships. I have no relationship with you, so why would I be angry? His face turned pale. Artie, you shouldn't say such things. No, you don't say anything. He looked at my mother and said, I understand her turmoil. It's natural, but one day she will realize I am not a bad person. I couldn't sit there any longer. Tears filled my eyes again. I started working at a school to keep myself busy. After work, I locked myself in my room, avoiding him as much as possible. So far, nothing inappropriate had happened to raise my suspicion, but still, whenever he came near, I felt uneasy. My mother, on the other hand, seemed to have found new joy. They went to the office together, came back together, and took evening walks. She looked happier than she had been in years. Days turned into weeks, and then one evening, something happened that I will never forget. The unexpected encounter. That evening, my mother was unexpectedly delayed at work. She had never left me alone in the house with Arjun. But that day she was not home, and I was in my room when a knock on the door startled me. I opened it to see him standing there. Where is your mother? He asked. I don't know. I was in my room, I replied cautiously. He rubbed his forehead. I have a terrible headache today. Could you please make me some tea? If your mother were here, I wouldn't have bothered you. I hesitated. For a moment, I wanted to shut the door and stay inside. But then I thought, how long could I keep myself locked away? After all, we were living under the same roof. So I quietly went to the kitchen, prepared tea, and brought it to the lounge. He smiled politely. Thank you. I was about to leave when he called out softly, Artie, please wait. Yes, I kept a safe distance from him. Why are you always angry with me? No, I'm not angry. It's just my nature. I don't like mixing with people too much. He looked at me with calm eyes. Can we talk for just 2 minutes? Something important. I sat down reluctantly, opposite him. He spoke slowly. What happened in our lives is unusual, but that doesn't mean you should hate me. There is a bond between us, even if only by name. It's a bond of trust. We live in the same house. Why this distance? Why this hostility? I answered coldly, anger comes where there is a relationship. The only relationship you have is with my mother, not with me. But because of your mother, we share a connection, he said softly. I shook my head firmly. No. He gave a faint smile. Fine. If you don't want to be friends, at least let us live like normal human beings under one roof. After that day, I softened a little. I didn't like him, but I also stopped showing open hostility. I would come out when he was around and even talk a little. He behaved well, never crossing limits. One day he said, Artie, I have a good proposal for you. My heart raced. So this is how he planned to trap me? What proposal? I asked sharply. He smiled. A marriage proposal. There's a young man I know. He's decent and from a good family. I thought you should at least hear about it. I stared at him. You don't need to worry about my marriage. I'll handle it myself. It's no trouble. I've arranged marriages for others before. I thought of doing the same for you. I had heard stories of stepfathers who pretended to help but had hidden motives. I stayed cautious, refusing to engage in his plans. Still, a fear stayed with me. How long could I keep running? I needed to marry soon to escape this house. But whom to marry? I had no friends, no love, no one who even hinted at liking me. My life was simple, uneventful, and lonely. Then one day, someone entered my life unexpectedly. It happened at school. I was in the staff room checking notebooks when a polite boy named Nikhil stood before me. He had recently transferred to our school. Then suddenly he asked, "Ma'am, do you know why I left my previous school and came here?" I looked up, puzzled. No, how would I know? I was shocked. For me? Why? My elder brother brought me here because he likes you. He saw you somewhere, and then he arranged for my admission here just so he could meet you. My heart skipped a beat. The boy was too innocent to lie. His words felt like a strange twist of fate. I controlled my emotions. Okay, focus on your studies, and don't tell this to anyone. Yes, ma'am, he nodded. That evening, I couldn't stop thinking about what he said. His elder brother, Raghav, had accompanied him during admission. Raghav was handsome, cultured, and spoke with dignity. There had been no lust in his eyes when he looked at me, only respect. Days passed, and then I met Raghav again. He came to pick up Nikhil. There was a warmth in his voice that touched my heart. Slowly, we began talking. One day, during a casual conversation, I asked, "Where did you first see me?" He smiled. "On the street." Then again in the market. "I gathered information and found out you teach here. I didn't want to disturb you, so I admitted my brother here. It was the only way to see you." His honesty melted my heart. For the first time in my life, I felt love blooming. We started meeting secretly. The world suddenly looked more beautiful. My life, which had been filled with fear and unease, began to brighten. Meanwhile, at home, neither my mother nor Arjun bothered me about proposals. Perhaps they had sensed my happiness. As my love for Raghav grew, I learned more about him. He was highly educated, working in a top company. His parents were educated and kind. He had two younger brothers, Nikhil and Ansh. Surprisingly, he never asked about my background. One evening, I brought it up myself. "Raghav, don't you want to know about my past?" He looked into my eyes. "Arti, I only know you. I have no interest in your past. You are my present, and you are my future." Tears welled up. I told him everything. The death of my father, my mother's remarriage, and my fears about Arjun. When I finished, he said, "So what? None of this matters. What matters is who you are today." And honestly, I think Arjun is not a bad man. Tell me, has he ever done anything wrong to you? I hesitated. No, nothing. Then stop worrying. But one thing you should be cautious about is his intention behind bringing you proposals. Sometimes people plan things silently. Yes, that's what scares me, I admitted. Then there's only one solution, Raghav said with determination. I should send my family to your house as soon as possible. True to his word, he convinced his family. They came to our house with a proposal. My mother was happy. His family was warm and respectful. They made it clear they wanted me as a daughter, not as someone they were saving. Nikhil, who had been our little bridge, was overjoyed. The engagement was done quickly. The wedding followed soon after. My heart was filled with gratitude and love. Raghav became my husband, and with him, my life turned into something I had only dreamed of. But the story didn't end there. Something surprising awaited me after the marriage, something that changed my perspective forever. After the wedding, life felt like a dream. Raghav was everything I had prayed for, caring, respectful, and full of love. His family treated me like their own daughter. Slowly, I started to believe that the shadows of my past had disappeared forever. According to tradition, a few weeks after the wedding, I had to visit my mother's house. Honestly, I didn't want to go. The thought of stepping back into that house where I had spent years in fear made my heart uneasy. Raghav noticed my hesitation. "Why don't you want to go, Aarti? It's your house." "Yes, but I don't feel like it," I admitted. He smiled. "Tradition is tradition. We'll go, meet them, and come back." So one afternoon, we arrived at my mother's house with sweets and gifts. My mother welcomed us with open arms. She looked radiant and happy, as if the past years had erased her sorrows. Arjun was also there, greeting Raghav with warmth. The atmosphere was surprisingly pleasant. After dinner, as we were preparing to leave, Arjun suddenly said, "Aarti, wait a moment. I have something to ask you." I turned to him, curious. "Yes?" He looked at me with a strange smile. "Tell me, how do you find Raghav? Are you happy?" I frowned slightly. "Why do you ask that?" "Of course I'm happy." His smile deepened. "So happy that you can't even imagine? Let me tell you something that you don't know. I was going to give you that same happiness." I stared at him, confused. "What do you mean?" Arjun leaned back and said calmly, "Raghav is the same person whose proposal I once hinted at for you. It was I who introduced you to him through Nikhil. I arranged everything. Slowly, you two fell in love, and now you are together. Do you understand? I planned this for you." My heart skipped a beat. I looked at my mother, who simply smiled. "Why are you shocked, my daughter?" she asked. I stammered, You mean it was all planned? That he?" Arjun raised his hand gently. "Not planned to trap you, planned to protect you. You thought I married your mother with some conspiracy? You believed I had bad intentions? No, Aarti. Even if I'm not your real father, I consider you my daughter. Everything I did was for your happiness." Tears filled my eyes. His words struck deep. For years I had doubted him, feared him, suspected his intentions. But here he was, revealing that he had only cared for me all along. My mother held my hand. "Now, what do you have to say?" she asked softly. I couldn't speak. My voice broke as I whispered, "You've given me more than I ever deserved." Arjun placed his hand gently on my head like a father's blessing. "Always remember, Aarti, not all people are the same. There are still good men in this world who protect rather than harm." From that day, my respect for him grew beyond words. He wasn't just my stepfather. He was a man who proved that goodness still existed. Years have passed since then. I am now the mother of a beautiful son. Raghav remains my greatest blessing, and Arjun is truly a father to me. Sometimes I sit back and think, God, do such people still exist in this world? Yes, they do. But they are rare gems, hidden among the stones of suspicion and fear. Always remember, not every relationship is meant to hurt you. Some are meant to save you.